Hey, hello, everybody. Sorry about the delay here and like three different chats started or whatever. Um, yeah, there was some sort of issue. Um, and the internet's having some issues. This weekend is, we back. Yes, we be. Uh, this weekend is, Seafair here in Seattle, which basically is uh, a time when families get together, loved ones, and watch military jets do really fast Blue Angels maneuvers and naval boats and helicopters and um, basically just get super drunk. So there's a lot of people in town for this, and the internet in my neighborhood. There's a lot of barbecues, a lot of Spotify streaming I can hear, and so it's probably screwing with the bandwidth in the neighborhood, would be my guess, because our bandwidth around here gets screwy when it's busy holidays and stuff. But hello, everybody, welcome. I'm a little beat up today. Had me a fight with my body, my own body, and I think I won, but I also lost because you know how that goes. Anyways, I just wanted to say hello so you can see me and that I exist. I think there must be something on the lens here, but yeah. So yeah, people are filtering in. I'm gonna turn off my CO2 on a tank. I'm gonna open up a cold Dr. Pepper. But first of all, let me say that I'm too weak to open a can. See, this is a problem. Since the lightning strike, my dexterity in my hand, even, like, I have to, like, do things weird to open things. But yeah, Jesse Tanks, hello. Carson, Art Vortex, who like that name. Uh, Vinoxy, hello. Betsy, hey Betsy. Chris S4, Chris S4. Chris is four. Chris is four. I am feeling a little bit better. As you can see, am having a reaction to like lupus. I do need a personal assistant, but also to the last round. So when I got hit by the lightning, I know this isn't a lightning channel. Sorry guys, it just happens. Like I want people to know why I sound like I sound or look like a train wreck. But basically, when I got hit by lightning, parts of the inside of me, the flesh, died, and I got infections all over my body. And so I had to go on some antibiotics, and the antibiotics, you can probably see the redness in certain lights, has like just shredded uh, my skin, like an allergy to it, plus the lupus. Anyways, let's get to the fish. Okay. Speaking of Ben, was great on the live stream. Hope he can do another one with you. A panel was a great idea. Thanks, man. Um, Ben, actually, I just texted him like I don't know, 20 minutes ago maybe. Why is this foggy? Hold on. We're gonna try to clean the lens a little bit. Is that better? Oh, much better. So Lucas and I sent Lucas some plants. He wanted Nymphea micrantha, and I have a morph of it that pretty much like no one has right now, or it's really hard to find, and so I um sent him that and was able to get him that and some other rare plants. And it was just Eleanor, hello. Hello, everybody. And Bob, Mr. Generous Bob, and Betsy, man. Some of my favorite folks are in here. I was just over at Lucas's live stream. Also, so let me start this again now that folks are filtered in. But essentially, I have been stuck in the house and resting by doctor's orders and just by my own body resting. Turns out I have damage to the actual bone structure in my body where, oh, good, the plants are taking off that I sent you, Bob. That is really good to hear. Betsy's Nymphea micrantha didn't make it, it sounds like. But Lucas's did, and I'm hoping his will take off. He said it's doing okay. But I've yet to see, like, I see like one lily pad when he's shown it off a couple times, so I'm a little worried. But nevertheless, you can see a lot of blue shrimp in this tank right now, right? You guys see all the blue. Um, yes, I will show Rotella plants, and I will show you. We'll do a tour because we've got the new tank pretty much set up and running. It's not fully cycled. The ammonia is like 0.25 parts per million, probably. So like guppies and things like that can handle it. Other fish can have a hard time, so I'm just keeping an eye out for ammonia burn on them. This is an older tank. It's all cycled and happy and hardy, but it has some of what Lucas sent. So it's got to stop. Will Stout, where are you? Seattle, it's usually rainy. This is the driest and hottest July we've ever had in Seattle. It was the average temperature night and day combined was like 75 or something ridiculous. Um, any case, so I've been laid up and I've been basically told to be on bed rest. And in between appointments, and I'll be having several back surgeries, several different procedures, possibly a skin graft on my leg, yada yada. It's going to be a really long haul, and I set up myself a little fort downstairs in the guest bedroom, extra bedroom, den, whatever we want to call it. And because of that, I set all that stuff up in the thoughts that even if I'm stuck in bed, I get really. Jeff Peterson, hello, you're new. Well, welcome. I see double vision. So right now, all the comments, I see double vision on them, on screens specifically. Guppy Aquatics, hey, what's going on? Do I dose fertilizers? If so, what type? Let me finish this little story of where we're going on this live stream, and then I will answer all the questions everybody's hearts desire. So I sent Lucas some plants before I got hit by lightning. Was it before? I don't know. Around the time of the lightning strike, I sent him some plants, and there were some that he couldn't get a hold of, or that were in just like not common where he's at, or whatever the case. And I sent them out to award winners on the channel who entered the contest of just watching, basically, just being a part of my channel and commenting. And Bob was one of the winners, and then Betsy I sent some to just because she's Betsy and she's like my quarterback on the channel, my mod, my admin, my rock. But the idea is I wrote Lucas, texted him. He doesn't like texting so much. I don't either, but I can do the speak to text. And by the way, if I screw up talking, it's just it's just a little traumatic brain injury, bleeding on the brain. But so I thought, hey Lucas, since I sent you some stuff, would you be cool with like maybe we start a pen pal relationship? And I want to do this with more people, but basically sending each other fish, shrimp, and plants that are rare or like that we each specialize at, and then we send each other a box like once a month, going back and forth of new stuff, whatever each of us is up to or into, and it kind of opens up my world. And I don't have money right now to spend on this stuff, so all the money towards the aquariums is either coming from trade or this channel, super chats, Patreon. You get the picture. So he sent me, and I was expecting like $50 credit worth of stuff on his site, maybe 3 or 4 plants, maybe some shrimp, maybe a fish. I don't know what I was expecting, but not. I wasn't expecting what he sent, and I have an opening like unboxing, a real unboxing video, but I'm just gonna go around and show you guys what he sent me, and these are his super white pastel pingu guppies. There's the male there. They're so reflective and bright that like the everything else. Betsy, you know what, Betsy? You need to stop. Like everyone else, thank you, and I appreciate the super chat funds. Thank you so much. But yeah, but Betsy, it's too much. You're always helping out, and thank you, honey. You are so sweet. I'll take it. I will though. So in any case, yeah, the pen pal thing is the way the fish hobby was. Even when I was a teenager, I'm not that old. I'm in my 30s and like young 30s. But when I was a teenager, you know, the local fish store only had so much, and Petco and PetSmart had really small selections. So if you wanted anything interesting, especially shrimp when those started coming around in the early 2000s, like 2002 or 3, you had to do either write in magazines or directories where people would list what they had. And maybe younger folks watching this might not know that like, you know, there were the back pages of fish magazines and things had like Ronnie's fish in Temecula. And you could write Ronnie or call Ronnie or whatever. Well, you didn't want to call, that was long distance back then and it cost money. But you'd write Ronnie and be like, Ronnie, can I get 4 Shelleys or whatever? And he'd, you know, mail them out. Or a courier would come out your way when somebody else had something similar. Like, oh, I have a friend making a trip. Who all in the area? Like, let's get a tally of who wants different stuff, and we'll get, you know, a group thing going. So these are Lucas's, except this one. This blue, really kind of like almost blue, really. Lucas says that can't be from his line. So that one has to be a freak, either a freak morph, but I doubt it, or like a baby that was hidden from another line I had out of other Blue Dreams. But he sent these incredible um, Pingu pair of guppies. And I kind of have live bearers out the ears right now. I have 12 different strains, I think, if you count like, oh, I'm mixing these two. And so each tank, I literally everything but my shrimp tank. Lucas, thanks, man. $2. That is super valued. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Every dollar helps out in the end, especially like, you know, the electricity and the food and all that stuff. It's great. That's very nice, and I appreciate it. I appreciate this community. I love, by the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, there is a Facebook group of the same name as The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. Betsy definitely holds it down. Bob's a big figure on there, and a lot of other folks are on there too. Shrimp Granny. Do you keep all of the super chats? I don't. So the super chats work kind of weird. I still am learning. Um, but essentially, I think they keep like almost a third of it, and then it's technically taxable. So the super chat is not the best form in the world, but it does help the channel in that YouTube thinks, oh, well, people like his channel enough that they're actually like tipping the creator in a way. And yeah, PayPal or actually Venmo is like the completely free way that people are sending money back and forth in life these days. Venmo. Real simple, and it's all can be considered a gift as long as you write like, you know, gift for whatever. And well, you guys are being too darn nice. Thank you, Tilapia Store. We do need some trading. I agree. Let's figure that out. I as with the lightning thing, we've been kind of calculating. I meet with a neurologist and a behavioral neuroscientist from a local from University of Washington, and they are going to be going over like why it is that I can like pick up a can and like touch my nose with my eyes closed, but I can't write my name. It's like it's not a head injury like blunt force trauma. It's like a head injury like a short circuiting of something very specific in the brain, and so they're going to be kind of studying me, hopefully, which would cover some of the bills, because right now they also found a medication that would help the damage to my brain and to, like my memory and my stuttering and everything, and they were able to give me like a sample dose type thing, but it is $38,000 a week for this medication that Pfizer, same company that does a lot of cancer drugs and stuff that are crazy prices. And so like they give you a little bit just to see like, oh yeah, that cures the problem. And then it's like, well, you're never going to have that much money. The co-payment on it is $3,500 a month. Or was that, I don't know, maybe that's every 2 weeks. It's like it's not possible, so I'm not worrying about it, but I'm like, okay, well, thanks for the dose now. Like, but yeah, so these are Pingu guppies, and what's really special about these, other than the fact that, okay, so there's the male, but the female, she's really shy, and I don't know why. Could it be that she was in a box for 3 days? I don't know. But she is down there. What, Bob? Wow, this is okay. This is the best super chat live stream that you guys have ever done, and I really, really, really appreciate it. It really makes my night because Luke is sending this box, and I'll do this. And I can't promise when, but I would love to trade plants, fish, whatever it may be, even just swag like, oh, I got an extra heater because there was like buy one get one or whatever. I like to do pen pal stuff because I'm stuck literally at home. I can't legally drive alone right now or anything because of the seizures, and so watching TV and stuff like that has been really hard. Oh, you got your shrimp from Lucas Tilapia store? Rad. What shrimp did you get? Friday night shenanigans. Carson Anderson, how are you doing, man? Are you moving soon? What's the 411 on that? Fire reds. So I got some fire reds from Lucas too. So I was hoping that this female would come out. And perhaps I can kind of coax her out. Hold on one sec. Because I want you guys to see her. She's really beautiful. There she is. So I think like, I do like the yellow and everything on the male, but I think that these females are actually, like, they're more consistent and vivid than the males. And those lower fins and everything, yes, Eleanor, I agree, and I would seriously consider moving to France or Britain if I were allowed to. Like if they would provide, like if I could move there and do that, I would do that right now. It's that dire. It's like 50 grand out of pocket is like the minimum number now that we've got. First, the teeth, I thought that was a big deal with like 15,000 to 30,000. Like estimates were really big. But 15 teeth need to be basically either implants, which would be 2 to 3,000 a tooth in the U.S., or crowns, or pulled and then dentures. And pulled and then dentures, the cheapest way. They're not in a row or anything, so they'd be weird partials and like a bridge and some other stuff. But the lightning also burned my sinuses and my bone in my jaw, my upper jaw, and it's not strong enough to take implants in some of the spots. Like it would go through the nasal cavity. By the way, these are coloring up really well in the high tech. Right? I agree. Maybe I can find some country that's like, hey, 10 grand and you can be a citizen. And yeah, that. We'll need a planted tank expert to help set up a new tank soon. Yeah, well, definitely hit up our Facebook group and, keep chatting with me. If I'm around, I'm free. I won't be working for 6 months bare minimum with I think there's like, I can't even keep track now. There's somewhere between 6 and 12. So I've been saying 9 procedures that are surgical in nature that I know are planned that need to get done at some point. And by need, I guess only 3 need to get done, like where my leg is going to be paralyzed or my kidney has some issues. The other ones are like, you don't need to have your teeth, you could yank them out. But I'd like to be able to eat food again without having to put it in a blender or whatever. So, yeah, it's funny what they consider elective. Like, it's elective to okay, yeah, Chris S4, you asked what fertilizers do I use? So this question's an evolving question. And I can tell you that in this tank right here, I use about 6 to 10 hours a day of CO2, one bubble per second or so. I used 88 Amazonia soil, which has natural fertilizer properties. I also laid down a little bit of the powdered clay and macronutrient powder thing that ADA has, or micronutrient, sorry. And then I've used at different times. Right now, I'm not using it because it's really well balanced with, like, it may not look like it, but this tank here is only 17 gallons, and it's just now losing its balance. You can see I'm getting some, unfortunately, black beard algae. Always happens when I get bulbitis growing well. I always get black beard every single time. It drives me nuts. So I need to get some hydrogen peroxide and then take care of that with a little needle. But you can see here, I mean, you guys, if you want to count, let's do that really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shrimp all visible. So there are what? Alan, that is insane, man. That my mind's blown, you guys. I thank you so much. Seriously, with that much of a donation, um, I if you have any questions, please personally contact me. $60, that's insane. I appreciate it. And like you were saying earlier, yeah, it's confusing. Like, yes, Venmo takes less money and so on and so forth. But YouTube does take it into their equation that people are liking the content on the live streams. I like doing the live streams because then I get to chat with you guys and actually ask questions when I am curious about things that you guys are doing, and you can do the same. And then right now, what I've been doing at home, just so people like Bob, who I know are into it, I have been obviously I set up a tank. I tried to do it as cheaply as possible, and I documented it. Uh, and yeah, and please go back if you're new to the channel, or if you've been on the channel for 3 months or something. Go back, watch some of the older videos. Maybe the filming or the whatever it was not quite as refined or as well done. But there's some really good info there that people ask time and time again, like, what rocks can I put into my tank? Aqua balls, hello. What wood can I put into my tank? How do shrimp pregnancy stages work? So there's lots of videos if you go back there, but they're kind of buried. And so I think there's 140 videos or something ridiculous, because for a long time I was posting one a day. Um, yeah, I will do an intro video to this channel. I will be home, as I said, for a long time, and this is like primarily what I'm working on. But I wanted to say I've been rambling on for 20 minutes, but thank you so much, Lucas Bretz at LRB Aquatics, for he sent me 10 Blue Dream shrimp, which I added to the shrimp that I've bred from his Blue Dreams from 6 months ago. And then also these Pengu uh, pastel goldfish. Now, or not goldfish, sorry, my brain. Guppies. So I haven't been keeping guppies. I've been keeping endlers mostly, but this has broken the spell. And these two, this pair, the reason they show off that light so well is because of guanine crystals in their tail, in the actual. Oh, is he gonna mate with her right now in front of you guys? You see that thing underneath? He just did. That's called a gonopodium, and basically that little fin has evolved into almost a hand or a. It's shaped kind of like a gutter or a V, and he will take it and he'll turn it and put his milt in there, and he'll, if he can, he'll tuck it up under her. And that's kind of like the aggressive move. Like, she's not into his display. He's not even bothering to do a display. He's kind of just like on the run, tossing it up there and swimming away. But normally they would display and try to like show off for a while, and you would see he's trying to reach out with it. You would see her essentially like tilt up and be like, okay, let's do this thing. And you can see Lucas must have just had her have bait. You can see through her right now in this light where she's at the top. She is the one on the left, and you can see that her womb is empty and there are no eggs in it currently. So he on the right is gonna try to get her pregnant. You see, that is such a unique shot, and it's because of the fact that on here the these guppies have been bred specifically in China for a while, where they try to get rid of their chromatophores, and I don't know if they knew the science behind this, but that's what really gives a fish pigment on the top layers of its skin. It allows them to blush and turn colors, and when blood supply comes to it, it can flex and things like that. I've got a video on how fish turn colors when spawning and all that. But they also have these chromatose, and then another feature, which is basically a chamber. Let's use this for an example. A chamber, and pretend these apple slices, these are vinegar eels, by the way. Pretend these apple slices are guanine, and then this is protoplasm that's in all cells. It's just kind of a jelly stuff. It's like in eggs of fish before it grows into things. It's full of ATP, which is biological energy, and essentially the little cell on the fish. Trout and salmon have these very pronounced. That's why they're shiny. Sardines and other ocean fish have it all the time. But it's a crystal, so pretend the apple in there is a crystal, and this chamber is one cell. And they have it, and they can flex it, and they can turn it from this shape here into a flattened disc when it's flexed. And when it's like this, it's a prism of light that shines. Let's see if we can get the effect from the light. Let's tilt the light here. Can we get it? The light coming through is focused like that. You see that white light? But when it's a disc, wider surface space, so we'll pretend like this, it diffuses and it's less pronounced. But they use that to their advantage, and it's not about color, it's translucent, but there's these little crystals all over the skin, and it's an extra layer of skin. Humans don't have it. And this is years of history and learning that have taught us this. But these Pengu guppies have been selected for 30 years now to have less of the chromatophores, which have pigment like red, green, black, white, and blue, and yellow. They have less of those pigment cells and more of these guanine crystal-filled cells, which gives the shininess. And some fish have both. And these clearly have both, in that there's some blue in the tail and stuff. But that's what causes iridescence in a fish. And essentially, these just nothing will do them justice. And if you can get pengus from Lucas, I would highly recommend it. He sent me these, as I said. I've got 2 pair of these pastel pengus. I saw them online and I was like, I don't get what's special about them. But then I saw how the natural light really just it shines unlike any other guppy tail. There's pictures I took of it that I can load in the group, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, you can see where they're next to other fish and they just look like glowing orbs. And the reason naturally for that is that it scatters the light for infrared, and so predators can't find them. However, unfortunately for these poor guys, they've been bred in captivity for their tail and the size of it and the intensity of that shimmer and iridescence, and they look exactly like fishing lures, even to like little neon tetras. Frankie Skates, hello. Okay, so that's how they are able to have such wonderful colors, and that's what makes pengus really special. And the females are, as I said, that's a female. So you can have them in with other guppies. I mean, they're still going to get pregnant really easily, but the females are still, you're able to spot them in a second, which is great. Also, my little bumblebee platies are still in here. You can see how washed out the color is because those are bright yellow to me in real life. And the blue shrimp, he sent me about 10 adults, or I mean 10 of, and probably 6 adults. And then these were another baby project of mine, which are the black and red tiger crypts. And some of you got those, I believe, and some of you got Ludwigia pontanal. Finally, I'm growing out enough of it that I'll have more. Now, the other cool thing about this tank is I've got all these Ludwigias over. Let me scoot the light so you guys can actually see what's going on here. So, all these Ludwigias, let's see here. And this one here is Ludwigia arculata. Then there's colorata, and then there is this beautiful one, which is my favorite. And the live video doesn't do it service. And granted, this is only what you get with CO2. I can show you what you get in these rotalas and Ludwigias. Here's some rotalas. This is green butterfly. Yeah, so by the way, Ludwigias have usually they have like I think it's 4 or 2 spots on each, and then 2 right below, so it looks like 4. I do have some swords I can mention. Yeah, we can talk some about those. But this is from the East Coast and the Appalachian region. There are about 5 lakes where it occurs. And this is a mix of Ludwigia lacustris and oculata. And it's a hybrid. And even though it's designed to grow out of the water and flower, it's not fertile. So it doesn't travel lake to lake by bees and things. It actually has to be broken off and float downriver or have a flood or a hurricane or something to like break things up and move things around. And so it's very rare, and it's only found on like along the Appalachian Trail in certain places. I'm just curious how stuck this beard algae is. Oh, good. It's easy to get off. This might not even be beard algae. It may be just some other wiry, annoying pain in my life algae. So the fertilizer question, though, was what all is in here, and the answer to that is currently just what the tank has created for me by setting it up with setting it up for success, so to speak. With the ADA soil, I like the ADA light. It still has the same nutrients, but it doesn't have the quite the same amount of ammonia. And the thing is, your plants can only handle so much ammonia. So when we talk CO2 and we talk plants, so this channel should really be called The History and Science, living in your aquarium. But basically, when you use CO2, what it does, Jeff Peterson, hello, and hello from the Dominican Republic, Manuel Paul 809. Hola. Uh, so basically, what happens is plants will grow as much as they can, like whenever they can. They're greedy little buggers, but they need specific nutrients to do so. And that's also when algae grows. So when you have too much nutrients, algae will grow. And so you either have too much light or too much nutrients. And I like to battle algae by simply cranking up the light and the CO2, and not the ferts, but the light and the CO2. And I will manually try to pick some of the algae like this. But you just want the plants to be doing so well that they outgrow the algae. The other way you can do it is black it out or with chemicals. But I've found that I can do this. Same with, like, you see how much was on this? I couldn't save this piece. You can always just chop a piece. But this just has way too much on a delicate plant to try to get off. So that's when we do my trick, which I have a whole video on, my method. But I've got 2 flying foxes, also known as Siamese algae eaters, of good size. I'll throw this in there for them, and they'll make short work of that algae on there. See, they're already interested. And surprisingly, they're pretty gentle. So this is the other 40-gallon. We'll go downstairs soon. Wow, that was like it was lagging. That fish was like twitching as if it was lagging. So I had some baby, and I'm leaving this. I'm not cleaning the algae on purpose because there's 20 baby green dragon plecos in here, and they're totally eating the algae. They're eating the soft algae, but they're also eating the diatom algae, which is the hard green algae. Unusual that they would be eating that, but I'm not arguing with them. I'm letting them eat it. So look at the size of this one up here. This one was put in this tank a week ago, and it's the same age as the other green dragons, yet they are this size. So here's my pinky. They're like my pinky nail. Well, and now it's gone. But the other ones are like bigger than they're almost to the second digit in a week. So that's how much feeding in the right conditions can do for fish. But let me talk to you more about fertilizers, because that question was asked several times and I kind of ignored it. So CO2, basically plants want to be all that they can be. And I use fish to be my main fertilizer. I will just let them poop and create nitrogen and ammonia all over the place, but then I plant. I try to keep, you see how dense this is? I recently moved some rocks and things around, but I'm going to be planting very heavily in here. And the goal is to just take up all that space with plants, and they will eat up all the nutrients in there, hopefully faster. And you can use little plant tricks, so to speak, like let me try to think of some. Water Sprite, Kabamba. This is Carolina Purple Kabamba, Carolinia Kabamba. There's a great video. I think it's great. I made it on the history of Kabamba and Darwin and all these weird tie-ins. Also, octopus plant, Stellatus octopus, is another one that grows super fast. That can grow 5 inches in a day with CO2 and a good light. On this tank, I'm using these Go Sun lights that have Canson LEDs, and they're 30 watts each. They're super bright. So you see this corner now, and this is one light shining on the corner. Um, they're really, really bright. And so that's spotlight technique, and because of this bow front's depth being almost 30 inches, it's a custom weird bow front that I got for free. I want light to reach the bottom, so there's spots on there, whereas there's bars on here. So I overstock my tanks by the 1 inch per gallon rule, usual tank thing. And what I do is, so then they go around, they poop, they make their stuff, but I make sure that they have good filtration and aeration. So you keep the aeration, the water moving, always have either a hang off the back or a power head or a sponge filter, if not all three frequently, which is expensive electricity wise, but it's not crazy or anything. Um, but that keeps the water moving, keeps the nutrients moving around. It reduces the types of algae that will actually work. Hey folks, I'm at work and pretending to be working, so I may need to just lurk. No problem, select pet, and welcome. So then the next fertilizer I use is I use, and it's not, I don't know, it's an additive more so than a fertilizer, but my tap water TDS is like 28 or so, which is super low. Might as well be RO water, because that is chloramine and chlorine, and that evaporates off. And if I let a bucket of tap water sit for 2 days, I will have water with maybe 6 to 9 TDS, so almost pure water. No limestone or anything like that, which is both good and bad depending on what you want to do. It's great for Caridina shrimp. The back of this tank here, that's crushed coral, which is old shell, and that's full of calcium, and that boosts the GH and KH, and that is how I harden up all my tanks pretty much. If they're in a dire situation, I will add Cuttlebone or a GH booster, like from a jar, but KH is usually my bigger problem. But really, that's more important for just shrimp. And Neocaridina shrimp. Well, let me select pets. I will try to do some random live streams. I'm gonna be home. I don't have to get up for work early in the morning. We'll play around in the coming weeks as I have time to think and do things. And lay in bed, basically. Which sounds fun at first, or like sweet. That's not gonna be too hard. But when your brain doesn't work right and you're confused and you've got crazy bills and you just feel like you're not bringing home the bacon or the same person you used to be, then and you're in constant pain. That makes it tough. But I use that, so I use the crushed coral. I also use egg shells, but I don't want to get into that now. You can see other videos on that, or we'll talk about that in the future. And then I add iron, and I do that in two ways. I either add that literally by knowing my rocks. There's a video that I made that tells you what rocks have what. But if you add a little bit of limestone and a little bit of lava rock or something, you can get the iron and the calcium and the GH, the general hardness that you need, and then a little bit of crushed either eggshell or bone or cuttle bone, which is like a hard chunk inside a cuttlefish, their rigid skeleton part. This is the Danio tank, by the way. There are Chopra Danios, glow light Danios. There are fire ring Danios, and there are some really egg laden. I need to get her out breeding into the breeding cup upstairs. Danios in here, and I'm using a bar light. This is called a Acheon, or I'm saying that wrong. Let me think. It's Acheon. Acheon. And that you can see has very few LEDs, but it's optimized for slimline, waterproof, and it is for plants. So it tends to be on the redder part of the spectrum, even though it looks bluish for some reason to me. And that's kind of what I do for my ferts, but I also use Easy Green or liquid iron in the tanks where I have not set them up naturally. But if I can, I like to set them up naturally. This tank I set up with enough iron naturally. You can see reddening certain spots, and enough calcium. And this is calcium chlorite, and it breaks down eventually. The thing is, bacteria and things like that need to break down some of these. Just because a rock has iron, it could be iron sulfate or some sort of other iron than just bioavailable iron. Frankie Skates, if anybody, yeah, if you were next door, man, I would give you some, but it costs $13 to send down a package of stuff that, like, I'm sure if you have some friends nearby, they could hook you up. Or, like, go online and find someone in these chats that, like, put out where you live, and then I would ask kindly or offer to pay a little bit and see where that gets you, and most people will probably just say, oh, you can just have it. But just try not to be demanding. People are pretty kind in this hobby, especially to folks who need something that is not hard for other folks to provide. It's not a big ask until it's like, oh, I gotta package it. Oh, I gotta go to the post office and I gotta pay extra money and time and then send it over. It's like if you offer to pay postage to someone, then they're much more likely to send you something out because you're already asking for something for free. Here are the RU2 eggs from downstairs. For some reason, they're doing better up here, but I found that they were rotting at the bottom of any sort of Tupperware or vial or anything I was putting them in because of Aufwuchs and biofilm. Not to mention, hope the USPS actually shows up with the box at some point. Yeah. Yeah, I made a couple videos. Was it Lucas last time or Aquatic Arts? I don't know. And the correct one, even though they live. Okay. So here is the room that I am confined to. River Life. Hello. Welcome. This is the might as well be on house arrest room, which is fine. I am grateful to be alive, and here are my tubs of various testing kits, things like that. But this is the tank that is my baby, my pride and joy right now. There's some issues in that the hair grass that I was hoping would take over the whole slope over here is not. It's just dying in a week's time. It has just turned yellow and died and clogged everything up, and now the algae is starting. So in this tank, I'm using a pump a week of Easy Green, which has your potassium, your nitrates or nitrites. Sorry, guys, and what else? Magnesium and calcium, and basically that takes care of your major nutrient things. So this tank, I wish you could see it. You've seen other videos or photos probably of this tank if you're on the Facebook end of things, but you can see that this is manzanita driftwood. It's not driftwood in the sense it's been drifting in the water. It has been, quote unquote, adrift at the top of a mountain in Northern California. But basically, Yeah, there is a long list of stuff in Easy Green, but mostly it's for ingredients. You to really fine tune things like zinc or manganese and stuff like that, I would add them on your own, but you really need to know um, that. Philly Man Pete, dude, if you're not running CO2, please consider adding more ferts. It will do you good. Yes, I know that. So I've been off and on in this. Look at my tanks. I do have CO2, um, but I think air injection and CO2 and light, you can play with those variables a lot. But see, what I was trying to say earlier is CO2 is just a potentiator. So it allows your plants to take in and metabolize nutrients. You then need to provide them those nutrients, though. It doesn't do any good to do steroids if you don't work out any part of your body, even though that's easier. But the steroids are going to build up muscle way quicker with much less than if you didn't have them. But you still have to pick an area to work out or whatever to get that going. And that's kind of like CO2. Uh, it helps plants grow, but a ton of it doesn't necessarily help versus a little bit of it, because you could have a ton of it and no ferts and then it doesn't work. Whereas if you don't have whereas I run it like a bubble or two per second for every is API liquid CO2 worth it? I don't think so, Jesse Tanks. I would do a home method before I would do that. But honestly, if you get yourself a canister, it's the regulator that costs the money to me in my life, from what I've experienced. But if you get yourself a canister like this, I got this at an auction. This 20 pound. It's tall. It's big. It takes up space. You can't move it very easily. It says 20 pounds, but it's like, I don't know, 50 or something. I don't know why. It's like an old one. But uh, I have found that you take that, and then what you can do is you can either run a couple lines with the dual regulator or whatever. Because the regulator, there's like a $60 regulator that I just recommended to Betsy. I should post a link to it or do an affiliate thing. But basically, you FERT, CO2, and light, none of them do any good unless you know how they work. And they're all in a triangle, and you need two parts of that triangle of plant health, ideally, and three balanced is the gold standard if you can get there. But right now, we are basically just hanging out in this tank with some rummy nose tetras. I like how they school. I think they're bigger than I ideally want to do in here. But I'm using this phase, and by the way, here's some more little plecos. This is old growth manzanita that was struck by lightning or blown over in a windstorm, collected by Tom Barr on some private land in Northern California. And there's two young Siamese algae eaters in here for the inevitable onslaught that's coming now that we're 2 weeks in. But I did not do a dry start. I did the wet start. And things like this is what those crypts are from upstairs. Don't look like much now, but they will. They will get going. I have a power head and yeah, Alan, thank you so much. Uh, Organized chaos is kind of how I like them. You know, I am real particular. Like, I've got my big crypts or ferns and anubias and things like that all up in that corner. And then this manzanita kind of runs through it. Also, I've got two, since there is ammonia still coming and going in this tank, it needs even more plants. So I've got Rotala of 6 kinds, Bacopa, Ludwigia, and a few other choice stem plants in here, and then lava rock underneath to build up this hill artificially. And this stone, these 3 are literally like they will rust into an iron color if I had not treated them first. And I sprayed them with a natural lacquer. Get the blue and white lights for plants. Red and green. You want green, or you want red light for plants heavily too. So yes, they manifest as looking like here. I don't know if you can see these colors; they might be too bright, but you can see them reflecting off the black here. Those are the colors in this Fluval 3.0. I really like this light so far. It throws out a lot. This is a cheapo night crew, and this light is not so much for growing plants, but rather just kind of keeping things illuminated. The corridors. There's like 3 in here, and they've uprooted my stargrass and my what do you call it? These things, Bucephalandra. They've upended it all. They're right back there, the corridors, and they just go through and like start plucking it because they're jerks. And then I have a piece of limestone up there. So this tank will not need ferts for hardness. The GH will be running at like 7 or 8. The TDS should be about 120 naturally. And then the pH should be around 6.6 to 6.8. The wood then supplies tannins and probiotics. I'll probably put some catappa leaves in. There's bio rings hidden under the hill, and this, as solid as this may look of a mound, it's actually hollow in a sense all throughout it with pipes and lava rock and cycled filter media. Lastly, I was going to show you, oh, it's all dark, but I'm breeding more Danios. My RU2s are up there with their spawn net. They're growing out here. If you want to see my Tatia mosaicas, they are in this tank, but they are sweeping. And last night, you can see a video of it. Geez, you guys, thank you so much, Philly Man Pete. This is the best, by far, by like 3-fold, this is the best Super Chat night I've ever had. And it means a ton to me because it will go towards the electricity. My wife is working right now. I'm not. I don't qualify for unemployment because I was self-employed, and I didn't. I qualified for like a really low amount, like $115 a month in supplemental income insurance if I got injured short term, but this will be considered long term. These shrimp are from Aquatic Arts, these 2 green ones, and then all the rest are actually from Flip Aquatics, and these are in the tank that was built by Betsy. Her donations built this tank, hands down. And Flip Aquatics sent out black King Kongs, blue bolts, red pandas, and red King Kongs, and also golden bees, which are just like pink. They're the pinkest ones I've ever seen. I thought she was pregnant. She is not. And then there's another blue bolt back in there, chilling on a baby Indian almond leaf. This tank has not been real successful at growing babies up to adulthood. So that's a bummer. Also, right here, this one is not a green jade. It has white eyes, and you don't see that line. And so it most likely, but I'm going to let it grow out older till they're older. Because they're still real small. Like that red one there is a juvenile also. But right here, this is most likely a babalti that crawled out of the tank over here. Here are all my baby blue dreams. These and crystal shrimp. And they breed like rabbits. These are Lucas's blue dreams again that you saw upstairs. You can see what difference the lighting makes, but this is the tank that they like. Like, you see all the babies in here. I let it just get scuzzy, full of algae. I pretty much just top it off with RO water, rainwater. And then you can see right here, these are babalti color changing, aka chameleon shrimp, hanging out there. And they just do their thing. There's 2 of them here. Let's see, can we get it to focus? And they turn from neon green like that rock all the way to orange or whatever. So Ernesto, the unboxing is what you're looking at. These shrimp he gave me, all the adults in this tank had been moved, so all the blue shrimp are just tanks. Yeah, I do sell shrimp locally. I haven't done it like over the mail in a long time, just because of the hassle of it and when they die and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and just feeling bad and the variables. And right now, obviously, I'm not in a good capacity to be shipping live stuff in the interest of time. But here's some blue shrimp he gave me. You can see when they do that arched back pose like that. I guess you can't see it from this angle, but that female there is gonna shed any day, like tonight probably, or tomorrow, and she'll crack open right where she's stretching, and she's just loosening up all of the plates around around herself. Bob Kaler's fish hobby. I'm likely to find my autos just about any. Yeah, I like autos, odos. If you're into Star Trek, TNG, Odo, there is one in here who I just put in here because they had baby ones for cheaper at Aquarium Co-op. Like, they were like $2 or something, so I grabbed some Odos. Over here, yeah, so we have Aquatic Arts. I think there's a link in the description of where you can get these green jade shrimp that they have. And then the red here are, so this is actually a caridina. You see that white on its rostrum or nose? That's a big tip off. Eco Complete. I use some Eco Complete here. I use some, and then over here, this is what do we call it? Sorry guys, brain. Brightwell. So Brightwell I like more. It's a little spendy, but it seems to regulate and drop down that pH for me really well. I don't even have to test it after a while. If you've got some plants and some tannic like cholla wood and almond leaves, I use root tabs in some of my tanks. I learned a good lesson. By the way, I'm also breeding ramshorn snails. I'm calling these ones phantoms because they're clear, and then they're either purple or pinkish or purple. If they weren't in that same tank as all the other ones. Up here, we've got Lucas Bretz. Not from this unboxing, but we've got his line of rainbow endlers, but I have supercharged them. Not necessarily. I've just modified them to what I want, which is the blue halo around their tail and on their back fin, dorsal fin. Also, some blue ramshorn snails are very cool. I recommend it. I have green ones. I have a lot of different ramshorn snails that have just appeared. You know. Oh, this isn't good. What's going on here? I wonder. So that's not a position I like, even though it is a catfish. He's at the top. Is he breathing at the top? I mean, he'll probably splash and stab with his fin. Whenever I think these guys are in distress, These guys ate savagely last night, but they also, I don't know. Yes, and there are swords in the tank. Uh, I've got fire swords. I've got uh, ocelot swords. I don't know. We'll talk about swords another day. I just don't. I have short tanks, so to me, it's like not the best use of space. But I am concerned about why this guy is in this position. Um, and oh no, I just tipped over my eggs and got a snail in the art. Okay, hold on. Let's one thing at a time, people. I'm gonna get the snail and the dead leaf debris out of the RU2 eggs. Move them to the side. So they'll be over there. This is some fluitans, Rechia fluitans that Lucas sent me. If you watch the video from last night on these catfish here, that it is nighttime. They know to ignore the lights to a certain degree, and they'll just do what they do. But this is not a good position. I don't know why he's doing this. This is the big male, and I'm just trying to inspect him and see what's going on. Sometimes they're just, yeah, okay, fine. He's fat and feisty as ever. They just look like they're dead or something so often, and it gives me a heart attack every time those darn Tatia mosaicas do that. Also up here, if you haven't seen him, yeah, we'll do a video on swords in the near future. I'm friends with a shop owner in town called Aquarium Zen, and he gets some interesting swords in. Plus, over here, this tank, I'm going to be immerse growth growing. All this manzanita can have immerse growth. It's out of water here, 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 and then obviously all this. This sits tilted back farther, and then this rock is an inch or two under the water, that limestone. So all of that, I plan on growing it out of the water. Seems like all catfish have some amount of attitude. Yes, I agree. They're kind of weird. And those ones are not ninja catfish. I keep calling them that because it's the closest thing, and I say that, people know what they are. We'll say hi to my plecos real quick, because I saw baby plecos the other day, and I was like, please tell me there aren't more baby there are more baby plecos, but they're not. I think they're just stunted growth guys. But they made this cave. The male here made this cave on his own, just excavating. And I set him down gently, and he'll readjust. And I always feel like I'm squishing him, but he's fine. He doesn't like his tail touched. The female was in there with him last night, and so I thought maybe they'd have some babies coming out. I gotta plug my phone in a sec here. But yeah, so the RU2's there. Up here, my favorite creation that I've made of a line lately. These are Japanese blue endlers mixed with Lucas Bretz leopard, but they're technically tiger rainbow endlers. And then I worked and worked and worked to get just a few leopard spots, but with the leer or lyre, as it is appropriately pronounced, tail, and then iridescence between periwinkle purplish blue to emerald and seafoam green, and they use those tail flares, swords, to do the mating thing. Here's what happens when you cross a native endler with a Japanese blue, right here, by the way, that has those. And then here's the result of several generations earlier. But what I do is I'll take young females, I'll keep them aside, like up here in this tank or something, and then I'll grab the two males that I want. Because right now you're looking at 5 or 6 generations all crammed in here, because they can have babies every 30 to 60 days, and then they live 2 or 3 years easily. So you're seeing a really weird mix of critters. Now, Lucas also sent me metallic red crypts, which, where'd it go? There's one over here. Right here. Looks green right now, but it will adjust. And then also you can see on that manzanita, that is going to be a long fin green dragon pleco. This one also, they're not so green. They get that as they get older. And the other thing I did as an experiment here is I left the sorry guys, I'm fading mentally, and I'm going to turn the CO2 off for that would be good for the growth of, you know, the tank cycling. So we'll see. Usually I will scrub it all and boil it, but it's been baking in 120-degree desert heat, so it's probably okay. All right, let me sit down and plug the phone in because it's dying at warp speed now. Hold on. There we go. All right, so do we have any other questions before I check out? Oh, Scottish, what's up? Alex, when are you coming over? Whoa. I can't drive currently because I start to get, well, the double vision, and then my depth perception's not very good, and migraines, and then also my reaction time's really slow. So yeah, I don't put root tabs in tanks except for those that I've capped. I don't find it necessary in the like ADA type tanks and things like that, but I do use root tabs in medium to pea-size gravel, and then I'll cap that off, mix in some coarse sand or something like that. So yeah, but I want to thank you guys all so much for all the super chats. You guys are awesome. This is like sweet. Now I can pay for a school of fish to go in that 40 downstairs. And comment what you got. Like, wait for this to load. Sorry, my face is so swollen here that it's like weeping. Like, it's kind of like sweat, but it's white blood cells. Comment what you want. I was thinking about doing like corridoras, like stir-by corridoras, doing maybe 15 to 25 of them, and then doing doing 15 to 25 of them, and then doing the rummy nose, which stick together, even though I don't know, I don't want them as much as some of the other ones. Bob, geez, dude. We could talk about rainbows, servums, plecos. I'm doomed. Bob, you are so kind. There are so many kind people in this hobby. It means a lot. And my wife's out tonight with friends. She's been taking care of me, and she's been great. But she's just really run down from all the doctor's appointments and things like that. And for me, I just try to hold it together lately by playing around in the tanks and fiddling with stuff and listening to podcasts like Hardcore History by Dan Carlin, or Joe Rogan, or what, you know, different folks like that. But Bob, you were really kind. I will do, you name it, but I can do an entire video or entire live chat if you want on swords or rainbows. I've got 4 pseudomugils going right now. That's what all those eggs floating around. Should have some fry soon. I've got pseudomugil reticulatus, RU2, pseudomugil luminatus, and pseudomugil fructatus. So, yeah. Jesse Tanks, The Secret History. What do you think about aqua neat lights for plant growth? I think they're not very good for plant growth. They're great for, they'll keep Rotala like barely growing, but like alive. They'll keep Crypts and Anubias and Java ferns and Java moss and other mosses alive. In theory, if you had CO2 for some reason and were using that as your light, they would then keep other, Rotala ludwigia a little more colorful and things like that. But really, they are better for holding the status quo. So, like, if you have some Anubias or you have moss balls or something like that, they will hold that at the place it's at rather than improving it a ton. But they do have some nice lights. Andre, hello! Koala. Let's see. And Patricia. This has been a great chat, you guys. Thank you for making my night. It really... Patricia, you always join in, like, right at the end. I'm sorry. I need to bandage this eye. I've also split the bridge of my nose, too, and up here's all... Whoa, I'm super pink. Alright, so... Do we have any more... Bob Kaler's Fish Hobby end of stream donation? Yeah, he's insane. Bob, you mean a lot to me. I mean, you all mean a lot to me, but he has been very kind and generous specifically. So, Bob, message me on the Facebook group or make a post. Make a couple posts or whatever about what videos you'd love to see. I am writing history videos. The information's in my brain. It's just instructions and like the order of events and staying on track were already tricky for me. I kind of have a brain that bounces around a lot of places, like ADD as they would say. But basically, I want to get back to the history stuff. I'm doing research. I'm writing things down. But it's just going to take a little bit of time to get there so that I can tell the story properly. And reading a script or something like that is just not, that's not how I function best. But even like tonight, like right now, the light on the phone is hurting badly. I burned my retinas and corneas both when the lightning flash hit, and then when the lightning charge crossed through or in my skull. But yeah, okay, let's see here. Time to get up and start my Saturday. Swim on, everyone. Take care, Secret History. All right, Eleanor, you take care. You have a great Saturday. That's awesome. Good night. Say good night, Alex. Yeah, good night, Alex. So, I'm gonna go take care of myself a little bit. But you guys, thank you very much. It means a lot to me. Have you ever kept Blue Phantom plecos? I have not personally. I love them. I have a Blue Seam pleco currently, a 183. I love it. I want to get more or Blue Phantoms to raise because selling plecos around here has been consistently like $1 to $3 a fish, and they have like 150 babies. So, and that's like young sales, and so that's an easy way to have like $300 come in. Whereas I usually will make $40 because I sell shrimp for like $5 or $6, to somebody locally. And if I shipped more, I could make more money, but I'm really not up to it right now. Like you can probably see in the video, like even if I'm talking and I seem to be engaged and whatnot, my eyes don't focus well and they do the double vision thing, especially at night, but just randomly all the time. Like if I'm not intensely energetically staring at the camera, this is what my eyes do. Watch. They just kind of drift and go weird places and cross, and so it's pretty hard to get to focus. Yes, I need to Jack Lamontagne. Thank you. I need. It's hard because it's been 5 weeks. I feel like okay, I got hit by lightning. I know, but I need to and the lupus already. So I feel like I want to keep doing things, but I know that neurologically my brain does need the rest, and physiologically as well. But thank you guys so much for the kindness, the super chats. You guys all rock. I'll be around. We'll do another super chat soon. And let's see here. Is there anything else that I am missing? But yeah. So thanks, guys. Special thanks to Betsy Bob. I like that. And everybody who super chatted, and then just for joining us. Check us out on Facebook, and by us I mean everybody here. We're all friends. We're all chat, and I like to learn from you guys. I like to get ideas from you guys. So, from the bottom of my heart, this hobby has helped me. It's when I'm run down, it brings me up, and so do you guys. And not working makes me feel like a drain or something, and like I'm not providing for my wife. And so being able to breed and sell fish like I did when I was younger, which was a supplemental thing to art and graphic design, the last few months, or the last few, like a year or two, was part of it, but now it's kind of all I'm doing, and I'm finding a much deeper meaning again for it. And even when my body's battered and my mind is scattered, it's a refuge, and so are you guys. So thank you for your kindness, your patience, your understanding, and I'll talk to you guys later. So yeah, all right. Take care, you guys. Much love. Take care of yourselves, like I will in a minute here. What is the light in the guppy tank? All my tanks have guppies, but the light in the guppy tank would be a Fluval Aqua sky with red setting, and then a Archeon or Archeon, that's what I was trying to say. Archeon from China, slimline, double density pro light is what it is. All right, guys, take care. Take care of yourselves so you can take care of the people around you and your plants and your animals, and in return they'll take care of you. This circle continues. Thank you, Lucas, for all the awesome stuff that I showed you guys today, and I hope you guys learned a little something. If you did and you're new, subscribe, hit that like button if you haven't yet. Have a great night. I'm gonna go collapse now. All right, take care, guys. Much love. Swim on. Bye.